Hi Virgo, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your April 2026 tarot reading. Thanks to those of you who have liked, viewed, shared, and subscribed to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, it's a 12 card spread with each of those cards representing a different house of the zodiac. Starting with your sign, Virgo is the first house, all the way through to Leo representing the 12th house. Once we get through that main spread, we'll actually pull an oracle card for some additional insight. As far as the main decks being used, for the main tarot deck, we have Tarot of the New Vision, and for the Oracle deck, we'll be using Wisdom of the Oracle. But we're actually going to start the reading off a real notes astrology as we have in front of us to get an idea of where your focus should be as far as that goes. Alright, we have 6. So 6th house energy for you guys is actually Aquarius, and currently we have Pluto there, of course. It'll be there for an extended stay. But other than that, there's not really other energies coursing through there just yet. But yeah, we'll keep that in mind as we go through the main spread. In general, 6th house points to health, work, and daily routines. All right, we have Cancer. So for you guys, Cancer is actually your 11th house of friendships, groups, hopes, and wishes. And we actually have Jupiter there. It's been there for quite some time, but it has been retrograde for a long time. It actually started direct motion on the 10th of March, so it's definitely building some momentum there, so that could be part of why that's pointing up as an area of focus for you guys. Trying to think what else is going on there. Yeah, that might be it for Cancerian energy for April. And we have Mars. So Mars is currently in Pisces, and on the 9th of April, it'll move into Aries. So Pisces, of course, is your 7th house of partnerships, contracts, and relationships. And then Aries is your 8th house of death, rebirth, intimacy, and investments. So we'll keep all that in mind as we go through the main spread. In the first house, which points to personality, self-awareness, and appearance, we have the Knave of Wands. So this is basically the Page of Wands. So it could just be saying you might be taking on a bit more of an adventurous energy this month, maybe wanting to explore new things, new places, and actually going beyond just thinking about it, but actually being more than likely to take action toward it as well. All right, in the second house, which points to possession, self-worth, and finances, we have the Five of Cups. So this is Scorpio energy here. So yeah, so what I'm getting with this could just be saying that maybe some business partnerships that you might have been working on, or even just, discussions around finances in general might have taken a bit of a disappointing turn for you guys recently. So especially if you look at the artwork in this deck, right, it looks like there's 2 people who walked away. So maybe there was discussions around some kind of a deal being made, and those plans might have fallen through. So there could be some disappointment around that you guys are going through this month. But given that Scorpio does represent your house of communication, I feel like this is saying that they more than likely weren't ever set in stone anyway. So it could just be more of there were some preliminary discussions around it, and it just never really worked into the tangible phase of things. For the third house, which points to communication, short journeys, and siblings, we have the King of Pentacles. So while there does appear to be some disappointment there that we just talked about with the second house, Queen of Pentacles, by the way, but this could just be saying that while there was possibly some disappointment there, I feel like this is saying that everything wasn't lost by any means, especially with the Queen of Pentacles here too. I feel like this is pointing more to an energy of saying that you can actually still build something long term, right? So maybe this was something that might have started to come together quickly and dissolve just as quickly, but now maybe learning from that, you might actually look for something that does tend to have a little bit more long-term stability built into it. And that's actually given that the Queen of Pentacles energy represents Capricorn, which is your 5th house, this could just be saying that you could be thinking of some creative ways to make that happen as well. All right, so for the 4th house, which points to home, roots, and family, we have Temperance. So this is actually Sagittarius energy here, which is your natural ruler of your 4th house. I feel like this is saying that when all else fails too, if you could just withdraw into your home environment for a bit, right? Maybe even if that's discussing things with family or with whoever's within your home environment, or just being home alone with your thoughts for a bit. I feel like that's going to really help you restore balance around the situation and figure out where you want to go next. All right, so for the fifth house, which points to romance, creativity, and children, we have the Knave of Swords. So, Page of Swords energy. So, seeing this here, I feel like this is saying that you're actually in the energy to want to go out and discuss ideas, right? To want to express things that you're working on. So, that could be where we're seeing that spirit of adventurousness with the Knave of Wands in the first house as well, right? Where you're just like, okay, you know what? Maybe this thing did fall apart, but I'm not going to let it discourage me, right? If anything, it could reinvigorate you in a way where you do want to move forward and get your ideas out there and try to experience some new things. All right. In the sixth house, which we also saw come up with the dice, which in general, sixth house points to health, work, and daily routines. Here we have the King of Pentacles. So yeah, so this is another indicator to me that, like I said, while that Five of Cups energy could have been a disappointment for you guys in a moment, I feel like this is saying you come to the realization that, okay, while it is disappointing, it's by no means the end of the world, right? And then, like I said, it could be one of those things where you might dust yourselves off pretty quickly from the situation and move forward in a way that's actually even stronger. This is actually Taurus energy here, so could just be pointing to the timeline of when we get into Taurus season as well. So meaning as we progress through April. And with that in mind, it could just be saying it could be as simple as the fact that, we did have the Mercury retrograde in your opposite sign just wrapped up. And so we're really still going to have the post retrograde shadow period until around the second week of April. So as that dust starts to settle and we gain momentum toward Taurus season, you might start to see the momentum build back up and realize that, okay, yeah, maybe there's just misunderstandings, right? Not the end of the world. You could get things back on track. All right, so for the seventh house, which points to partnerships, contracts, and relationships, we have the moon. So yeah, again, like I said, we still, even though the Mercury retrograde technically wrapped up on the 20th of March, we're still dealing with the post-shadow period for a bit. And yeah, like I said, it could just be as simple as when you look back on the situation that might have fallen apart, you might come to the realization that, oh, okay, maybe there just wasn't clear enough communication at the time, right? So maybe it wasn't that there was any deception at play, right? No one had any nefarious intentions. It could just be that, yeah, all parties involved might have misunderstood parts of the overall idea. And now with the clarity coming back in, you realize, okay, then yeah, maybe this isn't going to work the way we thought it would have, right? And for some of you, if this is, of course, when people think seventh house, they tend to jump right away to romantic partnerships. So if this is something going on in that area of life, I would say that this could just be where maybe you have to rely a little bit more intuitively on what's being said between you and a partner. So if we look at fifth house and seventh house, have pretty natural connections with each other when it comes to that. So if we look at the Page of Swords energy and the moon, right? Maybe there's something that you sense something seems off, but for whatever reason you're hesitant to bring it up to them to discuss it, right? Or if there's someone you aren't even, or if this is someone you aren't even in a connection with yet, but you have interest, you're like, right? You're like, am I getting a clear read on them? Should I come forward? Should I not? Again, like I said, it could just be the dust settling from the Mercury retrograde we had in your opposite sign. So maybe if anything, wait until the second week of April and beyond to have those discussions, and then that could help you get the clarity. All right, so for the eighth house of death, rebirth, intimacy, and investments, we have the Seven of Wands. So yeah, so this could just be one of those things where you might feel that area of life is hard fought for you guys, right? Where maybe you do win the battle, but it might feel like it took a little bit more work than you would have liked ideally. For some of you, keeping in mind that Leo energy is 12th house energy for you guys, it could even just be saying that these are your own thoughts competing with themselves, right? Where you're just feeling a little bit overwhelmed mentally around what you want to do around that area of life. So, yeah, again, like I said, I feel like this is by no means a all month long theme, but I feel like this is saying if you still feel that way in the first week of April, whatever, that's fine. But second week on, you should start to feel things clear up a bit. All right. In the ninth house, which generally points to philosophy, higher learning, and foreign affairs, we have the world. So this is interesting to see here because for you guys, ninth house energy is Taurus. And of course, as we mentioned, as we get to the 20th of April, we'll have the sun move into Taurus. Um, let's see, we have Venus there currently. Well, no, actually, it's going to get there on the 30th of March, but it'll be there for the first few weeks of April. And of course, we've had Uranus there for quite some time, and it's actually going to be moving out of Taurus and into Gemini on the 25th of April. So that could be what this is pointing to, right? Where maybe that transit going through your ninth house might have actually challenged your beliefs that you might have held for a long time, right? And really look at them through a microscope and see, like, okay, do these beliefs still fit for me or not, right? So maybe there's some shifting around your beliefs throughout that transit. And now, as we're finally getting to the end of it, you might feel like, okay, yes, now I'm more firm in my beliefs, right? I've gone through some growth around that. And now that's going to help you as you move forward. All right. And in the 10th house, which points to career and social status, we have the Four of Chalices. So, Four of Cups, Cancerian energy here. So, yeah, so this could just be saying that maybe you do feel some disappointment around that area of life, right? So, we did see with the second house energy, the Five of Cups. Here we see the Four of Cups, which could also point to disappointment. But in between that, right, we do see the King of Pentacles in the sixth house. So, it could just be one of those things where maybe the stability might still be there for you, right? So maybe just is saying, okay, yeah, you didn't, even if this situation fell apart, maybe it didn't have a huge impact on your finances per se, right? But maybe you're hoping to get this off the ground because maybe you felt more of an emotional connection to it, right? You might have felt like it was just something you would have had more enthusiasm for. So that could be where the disappointment is there, right? Where you may be hoping to bridge the gap there with those two things to have something that, yes, pays the bills, but it's also something I'm passionate about, right? So maybe you're still um, looking out for that opportunity that bridges those two things, which we could see with the temperance energy too. But you might be a little bit disappointed that you feel like you haven't found it just yet. All right, so for the 11th house, which represents friendships, groups, hopes, and wishes, we have the Lovers. So this is a Gemini energy here. So this could be playing out a few different ways. This could just be saying that, of course, we just take it at the more surface level, that maybe there's someone that you've traditionally been friends with, then now there might be some romantic interest coming to the surface there. But beyond that, I feel like this is saying that there's going to be an energy of feeling like you could trust those in your environment, right? Your closer friends, feeling like there's a purity with those connections too, right? So where you feel like there's no ulterior motives at play, right? Where you could actually be yourselves around them, they could be themselves around you, and things just tend to flow. And also seeing this here to me makes me think of if you don't have those types of connections yet, that things could start being worked out behind the scenes to bring them to your lives. And then that brings me back to what we were talking about with Uranus shifting into Gemini, right? So even though that's technically your 10th house, not your 11th, could just be saying between that and the fact that we do have Jupiter gaining momentum in your 11th house, those two things combined could really bring those types of connections around if you don't have them yet. All right. And for the 12th house, which points to spirituality, blind spots, and mental health, we have the Empress. So, yeah, I feel like this is saying might be easier said than done, right? Virgos tend to be very busy in day to day things, but I feel like this is saying that for the best way to clear your minds, I feel like this is saying that you want to be more relaxed, maybe get some time, even if it's just a long weekend away from work, right? To just relax, reset your thoughts, right? Which we see that connection with the temperance energy as well. And then that's actually going to help opportunities come your way, right? Once those blockages, the stress, right, the feeling overwhelmed, the exhaustion start to clear out, that clears the way for better opportunities to come forward. But we'll see what the Oracle card adds to the mix. So I'm actually going to give this a few shuffles. Like we mentioned, this is the Wisdom of the Oracle, so I'll give it a few shuffles. We'll cut the deck and pull a card that way. All right, we'll take this card here, get this out of the way, and we'll see what you got. All right, we have Come to the Edge. There's the artwork and the number's 36. So this gives off the energy of the Fool card traditionally, right? But we'll see what it says in the book. But to me, this does seem to align with what we were saying, where it seems like you have a bit of a energy of adventurousness this month. So it seems to support that, but we'll see. All right, essential meanings says courage, taking a leap of faith, overcoming fear, and accepting risk. The Oracle's message: facing the unknown is the only choice you really have right now if you want to progress. It's okay to be afraid. Now is the time to take a risk that is not calculated, to feel the exhilaration as you ready yourself for a leap of faith. Spirit is present, so let go of fear. You are called to express your true self. Listen to your heart and soul, not your head. Come to the edge and discover that you can fly. You must step into the unfamiliar so that you may find your miracles. So yeah, definitely a positive message there. And like I said, that definitely seems to align with these page energies that we see in your first house and fifth house. All right. And for the relationship message, it says it's scary to be truly intimate with someone, to allow him or her to see all of you, especially the parts that you've kept hidden and protected. Now is the time to take that risk and let yourself be seen, truly seen. It's important that you speak up, voice what you need, state who you are, say what you hope for. This is not the time to play it safe, but to take a leap of faith. You'll be glad you did. If you're seeking a relationship, the same applies. Take one step toward the gods, and they will deliver what you truly desire. Excuse me. So yeah, so that definitely seems to align with the Knave of Swords, which, like we said, that's romance, creativity, children, fifth house energy there, and also the moon, right? Where, like we said, maybe you feel like, oh, I can't really get a read. Is this person interested or not interested, right? Or if there's a conversation you've been putting off with someone you're already in a partnership with, I feel like this is saying you might need to come forward and do that. And again, like I said, timeline-wise, even if you feel a little bit shaky about that now, I feel like as we move into maybe the second week of April and beyond, you'll feel a little bit better about that. As we mentioned, that post-retrograde energy clears out. All right, and the prosperity message says, if ever there was a time for you to take a leap of faith into the unknown, it is now. This is the perfect moment to take a big risk. The unknown is the only choice now, and if you come to the edge, you will discover treasure beyond your wildest dreams. Allow your courage to lead you in spite of your fears. You don't need to know the exact form of what you're going for. The essence is much more powerful, and Spirit has a way of delivering an even better version of prosperity than you could imagine. Take that step. The results will be amazing. So yeah, so that takes me back to what we were talking about, where it looks like there was some disappointment with the second house energy, right? But then we see with the third house, the sixth house, it looks like there's still stability there. But yeah, hope it resonated with you guys, and we'll wrap up there. Bye.